Alright, so today we're going to take a look at finding percents of numbers. So there are several methods that we can use, or a couple methods we can use when we're finding percents of a number. And the first one we're going to look at is setting up a proportion. It's typically always going to look like this, and I'll be honest, this is the method that I prefer to use. I think it's pretty straightforward once you understand where the missing pieces go. So here, your number is really your percent out of 100, because as we talked about, a percent is really a ratio of a number to 100, and then you're looking to the part compared to the whole, and you're just filling in what we know. So here we're looking for what number is to 100, which would be like a percent, as 66 is to 92. So 66 is going to be our part, 92 is going to be our whole. So we have x over 100 is equal to 66 over 92. And now this is just like when we were solving proportions before, so I can go ahead and cross multiply. So I have 100 times 66 has to equal 92 times x. So this would be 6,600 equals 92x. I'm going to divide by 92. So cross multiply and divide, which gives us an answer of like 71.7, which we could round is about 72. So here, this is about 72%. Now, unlike before, when they give you this number, it's actually the percent because that was our number over 100. It's not going to give you a decimal form of an answer. Another method we can look at is actually setting up an equation to find the percent. So here when they're asking what percent of 220 is 88, you're typically going to put your percent times your number, your whole, which is 220, and that's going to equal what your part is, or 88. And then we're just going to solve it. So since it's p times 220, we're going to divide by 220. So p is going to equal 0.4, and now this is different than the proportion because now it's a decimal. We have to change it to the percent by multiplying it by 100. So in this case, it would be 40%. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video, try this one out on your own. You can use either method, and then go ahead and restart the video to check your work. Now I'm going to show you with the proportion method first. So we're looking for the percent, so I'm going to have that x over 100 is equal to our part, which in this case is going to be 21, over the whole. And if I look for that of, that's usually the help indicator of what the whole is. I'm just going to go ahead and do those cross products. So I have 21 times 100 is equal to 140 times x. So this would be 2,100 equals 140x. I'm going to divide by 140. And you're going to get an answer of 15 equals x, so our answer would be 15%. Here's another one for you to stop and try out on your own, so go ahead and pause the video and try this one out. Now on this one, I'm going to use the equation just to show that example with that. So what percent, so we have p times our total, or a whole, which is 110, so I'm actually going to write it as 110p, is equal to our part, which is 11. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 110. And when I do 11 divided by 110, I get p is equal to 0.1, which remember we have to change back into a percent, so I'm going to multiply by 100, which gives me 10%. Now let's look at another example. 4 friends volunteered to cut the grass around their neighbor's house. Jay cut 23% of the grass, Amy cut 1/5 of the grass, and Ken cut 31/100 of the grass. And Bryn cut the rest. We want to know what percent of the grass Bryn cut. Well, because here they're cutting different parts, we know the total percentage would be 100%, so we're going to subtract out what we know. So we're going to subtract out the 23%, the 31%, and then 1/5 is actually 20%. But instead of doing all this subtraction, I'm actually going to add all these up first. So 74%, so I'm going to have 100 minus the 74, which gives us a total of 60, oops, not 60, 26%. Now let's look at an example where we're actually finding the percent of a number in a real life situation. Here, the city of Dallas, Texas has a population of approximately 1,189,000 people. The population of the city of Austin, Texas, is 55% of the population of Dallas. So Austin is equal to 55% of the population of Dallas. And Dallas is 1,189,000 people. So when we do this, we can take our 0.55 times our 1,189,000, and we get that the population of Austin is equal to 653,950. Now I use the equation. You could also have set this up with a proportion. So basically it would still be 55% over 100, and then we're looking for the part out of the whole, which would be the 1,189,000. Now here's one thing to keep in mind, is that when you are solving a problem with a percent greater than 100, the number that your answer will be always greater than the number that is given. Now it's your turn. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve this problem on your own. So after a drought, a reservoir had only 66 2/3% of the average amount of water. If the average amount of water is 57 million gallons, how much water was in the reservoir after the drought? So the reservoir after the drought is equal to 66 2/3%, or I'm going to use a fraction here because the decimal is not going to be exact. This is 2/3 of the 57 million gallons. So here I'm just going to go ahead, and this is over 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So 2/3 times the 57 million. After the drought, they would have approximately 38 million gallons.